Is Neil Oliver right? I watched his monologue on GB News last night on the 26th of November. I only watched it this morning because I was busy last night and catching up. Last week I was talking about in this vlog, why do they hate us? Why do they dislike us so much? Talking about the elites, the mainstream media, the people who look down their nose at us and seem to have been making a ton of cash out of us. It got quite a good reaction from my viewers, and I figured it was worth commenting on Neil Oliver's piece, his monologue, which took a stage further. Now, if you haven't seen it, I'll leave a link in the description. He said that he gets a lot of emails from people frightened about the situation, that the people that we pay to look after us, the politicians, the mainstream media even, to inform us, seem to be lying and seem to fleece us at every opportunity. And he said the thing is not to worry, that you shouldn't worry, that the power is ours as a people, that if en masse we do something, we will actually, there's more of us than there is of them, and actually they're frightened of us. And I think that's true. The problem is actually how to get a public en masse. But he wondered, and this is why I'm asking, is he right? He wondered what would happen if we put our gas on, or our electricity, our heating, at full belt and just ignored the bills when they came in, just tossed them on the fire themselves and didn't pay them. If everybody did that, what would happen? And it's that business about, if you could organise everybody, they would have to sit up and listen. They would have to come to a conclusion that actually we do have the power, that whilst we're all being put under the thumb and under the conditions that they want us to be in, that actually we can say, no, we've had enough of this. I don't want to have to suffer all these things. As Jeremy Hunt, I think, said, that we've all got to do our bit. This seems to be a recurring phrase that the government loves to shove out, to guilt us into doing our bit for the country, as if we're back in the Second World War and Hitler and his army is on the frontier about to invade, and that we should do our bit for our country, that we should all come together and therefore all turn our heating down and get cold over the winter so that we can put Putin out of business. And I don't know that that's right. Whilst they're having parties and sipping champagne and flying around the world in private jets, we are supposed to do absolutely nothing and not allowed to go anywhere, have our taxes increased so much so that we can pay for illegal immigration, and we can't even go to hotels. God knows what businesses are doing. When I used to go and film for radio stations, which I know sounds a bit weird because it's a radio station, but for the clients of radio stations, I used to make videos for them to sell the advertising space. And I would stay in hotels all around the country. But it seems now that these hotels have been bought up, and that illegal immigrants who are coming in, because we no longer stop them. Oh, and by the way, by even mentioning illegal immigrants or immigration, and even by saying the name foreigners, even having an opinion on the current situation makes me a racist, by the way, because apparently, I didn't realise this, that the English language can be manipulated at the whim of those people who don't like you. They can just say, oh, well, you're a racist because you're talking about people coming in illegally. And because of that, you're a racist. I have nothing to say about their race, but apparently it still makes me a racist. I have something to say about a people, a body of people coming into an island that is already very overwhelmed, and that people are already under the thumb and having to pay a lot of tax and can't get their kids into the schools they wish, or they can't go and see a GP. and that everybody seems to be going on strike, and yet we're quite happy that our homeless and our poor can't be served, but people from another country, more than, you know, people who have paid traffickers £5,000, for example, to come over willy-nilly and actually have a taxi service or an Uber service from France over to here, and then get put up in hotels all over the place. I'm sure it's not as great as it sounds being put up in a hotel. It sounds lovely, doesn't it? But these people are sort of effectively trapped in there, and I understand that they've got nothing to do because they're waiting. And in many ways, that's the message we should be selling back to them and saying, look, this is what it's like if you come over here. It's not this country paved with gold and that you're going to have a fantastic time. Actually, you'll be sitting in a bored out of your brains on your phones, in your expensive jeans and trainers and hoodies and all the other stuff that we seem to be able to sort of lavish on them, but you won't have anything to do. So maybe think about going somewhere else. I don't know, but just saying that makes you a foreigner. Not a foreigner, doesn't make you a foreigner, of course it doesn't. Apparently it makes you a racist. Being concerned about your borders, being a little bit proud of your country, and all those things, apparently, so I've been told, is against you. But Neil Oliver was saying, what happens if we say to our elite people who think that, who look down at us, and I think they do. They don't ask us, do we want these things? We didn't vote for many of these things. We were told this is what you've got to have. We had the whole debacle, as I said last time, with the pandemic that we've had, and nobody was consulted. The other side of the science wasn't even looked at. And now they're just doubling down. There's things going on that the government will not even entertain and look at. They won't even discuss. We have a bunch of unelected people in the government at the moment that we never asked for, taxing us and not letting us have growth in this country so that we can get out of this mess. So it's almost as if we have to take the power back and say, look, we're not putting up with this. I gather that Londoners are up in arms because Sadiq Khan is putting the, whatever you call it, I forget the name, the tax on cars going in and out of London up to £12.50 a day coming up, which would, of course, will penalise a lot of businesses, I'm absolutely sure. I've even heard, and this seems ridiculous, that there are schemes in the pipeline to stop you from driving your car from one part of a town to the other part of the town, that you've only got so many limits to go. The whole frightening aspect of having this currency that is all digital, so it's all traceable, and that there'll be an attachment to how much you can use because of your carbon footprint. Neil Oliver says, what happens if we took all our money out of the bank all at once? What happens if we just don't pay our bills? Will people do it? The problem, I think, with that notion is the governments and the people in power are obviously scared of mass protest. And they have made us, through a series of situations, and I think predominantly from Brexit onwards over the last few years, and the pandemic particularly, and now at the moment, have made us very much polarised, so that we're wrong. We're wrong if we don't go along with them, that we're being nudged and told, well, this is for your public duty. You should be doing this. This is right. And they keep using this phrase that this is the right thing to do. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know that it is the right thing to do. There are people who are being more made destitute. They're having less money, fewer things in their lives to look forward to. You've got situations now where all these bodies are going on strike, the railway workers and the nurses, and many others, of course. We have a dysfunctioning police, it seems, from all the reports that you get, that nobody's actually doing any crime solving. And it seems the country is going to down the drain. Our history is being wiped out. Our pride is being taken away from us, and by pride I mean pride for your country, not any other sort of pride, not mother's pride. And it's it just seems as if we're being funneled into one, cajoled, corralled into one area, and if we don't fit into that, well, we've atomized each other, we've polarized each other, so that actually the public will get on at each other, so that the government don't have to. It's those viewers who disagree with me will pile on me, not but yet we're all part of the same, we're all in the same situation, we're all being taxed like this, unnecessarily so, it would seem to me. But would we ever manage to get a mass demonstration? That's the thing that I think would be the problem, because I think cleverly we have been divide and conquer, that thing. They're dividing us, they're putting us against each other so that we could never rise up and challenge what they do. And this clearly is the problem that we need as a people to resolve, that we need to come back and be on each other's side and listen to each other's arguments, listen to them. We may disagree with some of it, but not necessarily all of it. Excuse me, I've got a very itchy nose. We may disagree with one another on some things, but not everything. And yet we're being told by the mainstream media that if you disagree, if you don't follow the science, if you're not doing this, you're a hypocrite, and if you're a hypocrite, you're just, you know, or if you don't follow what we do, then you're wrong, you're an idiot, you're a below the waterline species, you're something to be looked down on or spat on because you don't agree. This is clearly wrong. Human beings are complex creatures. The mind of man is able to compute so much, and people will have different opinions on different things. I don't understand why, if you just disagree with somebody, excuse me, very itchy nose this morning, if you disagree, then that we just, and they've been so clever at manipulating us. And this has just got to be wrong. But of course, they're doing it in their clever nudging way, so that we will never get together and challenge what they're doing with their World Economic Forums and their ways of wanting to have this globalized planet and ignoring our once great nation, where we as a people of this nation could pull together and defeat a foe. And it makes you wonder where we're going to go with all of this. I haven't, what's the word I'm looking for? See, this is exactly the point. I haven't spoken very clearly. I haven't crystallized this. I haven't, I can't think of the word. This morning I'm so flustered by the whole thing, I can't put this into terms. I would recommend going and watching Neil Oliver's monologue. As I say, I'll link to it, because he puts it over eloquently. I haven't eloquently expressed what I wanted to say in this video, but the passion is there. And you can hate me for it. You can disagree with me. You can say I'm wrong for believing in my country and wanting the people in this country to decide that they want to do the things that they want, that we want certain things, not what the government wants, that we don't necessarily need this green agenda. How is it going to work? That they won't listen to the other side of the argument, that they want to tax us left, right and centre and keep us under the thumb all the time. This is just so wrong that we need to come together and we need to come up with a strategy. We have all the tools. That's the irony. We have all the tools with our social media to be able to do something like this. But can we do it? I don't know. Would people be prepared to not pay their bills? Would they come to the aid of somebody who was being arrested for not paying their bills and surround the house in their thousands and say, look, no, we're saying no to this. The people have spoken. We put you there to do our bidding, not we put you there to tell us what to do. That's not how it works in a democratic country, and we're not having it. Do we dare to do it? That is the question.